Hello everyone. Welcome to my latest video. Today, we're diving into a vulnerable machine called MoneyHeist. Catch us if you can. This machine is inspired by the popular Spanish heist crime drama, MoneyHeist. While the creators didn't specify its difficulty, I would classify it as medium based on my experience. To get started, head over to the VulnHub website and download the vulnerable image. If you're new to VulnHub, be sure to check out our VulnHub playlist for some helpful tutorials. Let's get started. Settings up. Once you've downloaded the image, the next step is setting up the server in VirtualBox. This process is quite simple and involves importing the OVA file into VirtualBox using the Import Appliance feature. Here's how to do it. Double-click the OVA file, which will automatically launch VirtualBox and open the appliance settings. Review the appliance details and settings. You can adjust them as needed. Now, click on Finish to start the importing process. Once the import is complete, you'll see the Heist vulnerable machine listed in the VirtualBox Manager under the VulnHub group. Select this virtual machine, go to Settings, and change the network adapter to Host-Only Adapter. It's important to ensure that both your Kali Linux machine, used for attacks, and the vulnerable machine are connected to the same network. Make sure they're both connected via the host-only adapter. Now, it's time to start the VM. You'll notice that our vulnerable machine is ready, with a login prompt awaiting. Let's dive into the fun. Enumeration. The initial step in our attack is enumeration, which involves identifying the IP address of our target machine using netdiscover. To execute this, open a terminal and run netdiscover-i followed by specifying the network interface name, which in this case is ETH1. From the scan results, we've obtained our target IP address, 192.168.95.24. Next, we'll conduct a network scan to identify open ports, a crucial step in the enumeration process. This helps us understand the attack surface and strategize targeted attacks. We'll use the popular Nmap tool for this task. Run nmap-sc-sv followed by specifying the IP address. In this command, -sc is used to perform a script scan using the default set of scripts, while -sv enables version detection, allowing us to identify which versions are running on which port. After completing the network scan, we discovered the presence of two open ports. Port 21 TCP, this is the standard port for File Transfer Protocol, FTP. The scan reveals that it is running VS-FTPD version 3.0.3, which offers anonymous login access, as indicated by FTP Anon, anonymous FTP login allowed. Port 80 TCP, this is the most common port for web traffic, HTTP. The scan identifies an Apache HTTPD web server version 2.4.18 running on Ubuntu. The title of the web page is MoneyHeist. With this information, we can proceed to explore these services for potential vulnerabilities and exploit them to gain access to the target system. Let's use these ports to further enumerate, which may lead us to gain a foothold on the target system. From our Nmap findings, we know that the FTP service allows anonymous login and contains a note.txt file. Let's access the FTP service to see if there are any clues for us. On the terminal, run FTP followed by the IP address. When prompted for a username, enter anonymous. You do not need to provide a password. Login was successful. Let's list the files and directories by running the ls command. Here, we see the note.txt file in the directory. Let's retrieve it using the get command. This file will be saved to Kali's home directory. Open it to analyze its contents. Upon analyzing the text, we find that Angel Rubio, a partner of investigator Raquel Murillo, needs our help to catch the professor. This clue might provide us with valuable information for our next steps. Before proceeding, let's enumerate port 80, which is running an HTTP service. Open the web browser and navigate to the target's IP address in the URL bar at the top of the window. Upon accessing, a portrait image of a MoneyHeist gang participant is displayed. However, no visible hints are present. To extract metadata and potentially find embedded information in this portrait image, we'll need to download it first. In the terminal, use the wget command followed by the URL of the image to download it locally. After downloading, we can analyze the image and its metadata. The image did not provide any information. To continue our investigation of the target URL, we will perform directory busting to uncover hidden or hard-to-access directories and pages. For this task, we'll use the GoBuster tool, where GoBuster dir is used to instruct GoBuster to perform directory busting. The -u is used to specify the target URL we want to explore. -w is used to provide the path to the word list containing common directory names to try. Using GoBuster, we identified various directories. Among these, the robots directory seemed potentially helpful for further exploration. Let's open it. Access the robots directory by navigating to http://192.168.95.24 robots. In this directory, there is a file named Tokyo.jpg with a last modified date of November 19, 2020. However, upon attempting to view this image, I received an error message stating, the image cannot be displayed because it contains errors. This suggests, there may be an issue with the file. Or it might not be a valid image. To investigate further, we need to examine the file to understand what might be wrong with it. This involves checking the file's content and format using various tools. First, download the file using wget. We have downloaded it. Next, use exiftool to extract metadata and check for errors. Exiftool indicates a file format error, which suggests that the file may not be a valid JPEG image or it might be corrupted or tampered with. To further investigate and determine the valid format of the file using the file command. The file command indicating Tokyo.jpg data suggests that the file does not conform to a recognizable image format, suggesting it might be corrupted or mislabeled, or potentially contains hidden data. Let's proceed by analyzing the file using a hex editor. Open the file in a hex editor to manually inspect the header and structure. Look at the first few bytes to see if they match any known file signatures. Some common signatures are JPEG, FF, D8, FF, E0, or FF, D8, FF, E1. PNG, 89, 50, 4E, 47, 0D, 0A, 1A, 0A. GIF, 47, 49, 46, 38. BMP, 42, 4D. The hex editor output indicates that the file starts with bytes 0A, 4A, E0, which are unusual for a JPEG signature. However, subsequent bytes like 0010 4A 46 49 46 000101010060 0060 0000 include the JFAF marker, typical for JPEG files. Despite the unusual starting bytes, the structure following them suggests it's a JPEG. Let's try to correct the header and see if we can open the image. Before making changes, ensure you have a backup of the original file. In the hex editor, change the first 4 bytes, 0A, 4A, E0, to the standard JPEG header, FF, D8, FF, E0. Save it using Ctrl+X. After making the changes, it looks like we have fixed this image attempt to open the image. We see a message like, "Seriously? How can you think I have something here for you? Don't do this next time." This indicates that our efforts did not yield useful results and that the file was intentionally misleading or empty. Previously, from our GoBuster scan, we discovered another directory named Gate. Let's explore this directory. This is the index of Gate directory listing for a web server. Here, there is a file named gate.exe in the Gate directory. For further investigation, let me download it. To investigate the downloaded gate.exe file for any clues, we can follow several steps to analyze its contents, check for malicious activity, and extract any embedded information. The most common thing is to check the basic file information, to confirm the file type to ensure it's an executable. The file command output indicates that gate.exe is actually a zip archive. This means it likely contains one or more files inside. Let's extract and investigate the contents of the zip archive. Use the unzip command to extract the contents of the zip archive to a directory. The error message, bad zip file offset, local header sig0, indicates that the zip archive gate.exe is either corrupted or has been intentionally tampered with. This can often happen in files that are used for steganography or to hide malicious code. Let's attempt to repair the zip archive using zip. The -ff option in the zip attempts to fix the archive by scanning for any valid zip headers. The output indicates that the attempt to fix the gate.exe file resulted in an empty archive, suggesting that the original file might be heavily corrupted or deliberately crafted to appear as a zip archive without containing valid zip entries. After determining that gate.exe is a zip archive and facing extraction errors, the next logical step is to use strings. Let's use strings to extract readable text. The extracted strings include note.ut, bank of SP41N, and note.ut. This suggests there might be a hidden note or reference to Bank of Spain, which could be a clue embedded within the file. This actually looks like an internal URL of the target system. For a better look, visit it. Exactly, this is an internal URL of the target system. Here, it displays an image of a bank but nothing else. So, for a better look, if there is any directory or files are there. To continue our investigation of the target URL, we will perform directory busting to uncover hidden or hard-to-access directories and pages using GoBuster. Initially, GoBuster did not reveal any directories. Let's refine our search to look for specific file types. The -x option filters for specified file types. The refined GoBuster scan showed various error URLs, but among these, we found a file named login.php which could be useful for further escalation. Let's visit the login.php page. Upon accessing it, we are prompted to input a username and password. Since we lack the credentials, we'll need to investigate further to find any hints. While checking the source code of the login page, we came across a JavaScript file named cr3ds.js. This file might contain hints or credentials. Access the cr3ds.js file. In it, we find a function designed to validate login credentials. The function checks if the values entered into the form fields match specific criteria. Form.userid.value must be equal to anonymous. Form.pwd.value must be equal to b1tch. If both conditions are met, the function returns true, indicating a successful login. Otherwise, it triggers an alert with the message "haha, wrong person," and returns false, indicating a failed login attempt. This JavaScript code provides the exact credentials needed to successfully log in: username, anonymous, password, b1tch. Let's use these credentials on the login.php page to attempt logging in and proceed with our investigation. After successfully logging in, the resulting web page appears to be broken. To continue our investigation, let's check the page source for any additional information or clues. Upon navigating through the page source, I found a hint within the comments. This hint suggests that we might need updated credentials and provides the username, Arturo. Let's use the username Arturo for a brute force attack against the FTP service. Hydra is a powerful tool for such attacks. To brute force the FTP service, run the following command in the terminal, where the -l is used to specify the username. The -P is used to specify the path to the password list. Then use FTP 192.168.95.24, which is the target FTP service. Hydra will try each password in the provided list against the username Arturo. Once Hydra completes the attack, it will display the correct password, which is Corona. Since we have a valid username and password, let's use these credentials to gain a foothold on the target system using FTP. Foothold. Now, let's use these credentials to log in to the FTP service. Once logged in, list the files and directories to check for any important files left for us. Upon listing all files and directories, I found a text file named secret.txt. Now, let's retrieve the secret.txt file to check its contents by running the get command. Now, open the file to see what it contains. Let's analyze this text for potential hints that might help with future escalation. The text mentions specific names and numbers which might be important. Names: Denver, Nairobi. Hostages: 65 to 66. Total armed individuals: 8. The names and numbers mentioned in the text might be used as passwords or as part of usernames. The context of a call to police headquarters might imply the need to communicate or use information related to law enforcement or emergency contacts. If my guess is correct, the names, Denver and Nairobi, look like usernames. Usually, a username can be verified by checking the home directory. First, let me check the current directory path using the pwd command. It replies with /home/Arturo. So, switch back to the home directory and list the files and directories to see if the username directories are listed. Yes, there are 3 more users: Denver, Nairobi, and Tokyo. Change the directory to Denver. However, it shows failed to change directory. The same issue occurs with the other 2 users, Nairobi and Tokyo. This means we cannot access these directories using the FTP tool. But I don't understand what hostages 65 to 66 refers to. After thinking for some time, I suspect that this might be a port number. To verify my guess, let's run the Nmap again. Here, I am using the -p- option, which helps us scan all available ports. Although my guess was incorrect, but I found a port running an SSH service on port 55001. This means we can establish a connection and investigate further to know more about the users in Denver and Nairobi. We previously found a username and password. Let's use these credentials to access the system via SSH. Specify the port number with the -p option. It worked! We have successfully connected via SSH. Upon listing the files and directories, we can see the same files and directories we previously investigated via FTP. Let's not repeat the same steps. Change the directory to the given users, which previously did not access it. For a better look, let me change the directory to home directory and list all the users' directories. Now, try to access Denver. However, it shows a permission denied error. It looks like the user Arturo doesn't have permission to access other users' directories. Therefore, we need to escalate our privileges to gain root access. Privilege escalation. Let's check what sudo permissions the current user Arturo has by running the sudo-l command. The output shows, sorry, user Arturo may not run sudo on MoneyHeist. This means Arturo does not have permission to run sudo commands. For a more comprehensive overview, I will use LinPEAS. LinPEAS is a script that helps automate the process of identifying potential weaknesses in the system that could be exploited for privilege escalation. First, we have to send it to the target system. To proceed, we need the LinPEAS script, which can be downloaded from GitHub. Next, we need to transfer the LinPEAS script to the target system. To do this, we can set up a simple HTTP server on our machine to serve the script. Use Python to create an HTTP server to host the LinPEAS script. This will start an HTTP server on port 8000. Ensure this port is accessible from the target system. Once the HTTP server is hosted, on the target shell, change the directory to TMP. To download the linpeas.sh file, we will use the wget command. First, list all files and directories to verify whether LinPEAS.sh has execution permissions. It does not, so we will need to modify the permissions. To make LinPEAS.sh executable, use the chmod command. Next, run LinPEAS.sh to perform a comprehensive scan of the system for privilege escalation opportunities. The script will examine various aspects of the system, including misconfigurations, outdated or vulnerable software versions, and other security weaknesses that could be exploited to gain higher privileges. Upon analyzing the output, I found 3 critical files under the Files with Interesting Permissions section: sed, find, and gdb. Go to the GTFOBIN's website to find suitable commands that can help us access other users. Let's check the sed file first. The sed file can be used for sudo and SUID permissions. Since Arturo cannot use sudo, let's check SUID. However, the sed command looks complicated and may not work. Let's check the find file next. Here is the command that may work. Replace sh with bash. Upon execution, it will change the shell type. Now, change the directory to Denver. It worked. Now, list the files and directories to check what it contains. There is a note.txt file listed. Let's analyze it. The note suggests that Arturo has been caught trying to leak information and is now in another room. This may imply there are more users or directories to explore, possibly related to the other room. So, let me try to access other users' directories to check if it is working or not. Navigate to the home directory, and from here, change the directory to another user. However, it fails to open, showing a permission denied error. But, upon trying to attempt the gdb SUID command, which might help us gain access, this also shows a permission denied error, indicating that the gdb SUID command does not work. While looking through the files and directories in Denver's directory, I came across a suspicious file named Secret Diary. Let's open it using the cat command. Upon thorough analysis, I found a hint in the secret diary. It notes that Denver feels underestimated by Nairobi and Tokyo and has left something secret on the browser. The provided path seems like a directory or file path on the target system. Now, the next step involved is, investigate bank of SP41N/0x987654 directory. Navigate to the specified directory path in the browser to see what it contains. In the web browser, add the directory path after the existing URL. Upon navigating to the given directory path, I came across an index page, and here I found a file listed, key.txt. Let's open it and check what it contains. Upon opening it, it appears to be encoded or obfuscated. The repeated pattern of ... suggests it might be a simple substitution or some form of code. It looks like a Morse code-like text. First, convert the Morse code-like text into actual text symbols using an online Morse code decoder. Upon decoding it, we found a series of dots and spaces, which might correspond to Morse code, binary, or another dot and space-based cipher. However, when translating each Morse code symbol to its corresponding letter, I found that the second word with 5 dots after the space is an invalid Morse code. This means it is not Morse code. But it looks more like tap code. Let's use an online tap code decoder. It worked. Here, we found another text. Based on the sequence of letters, it appears that the next step is to apply the ROT13 cipher to decode it. ROT13 is a simple substitution cipher where each letter is replaced by the letter 13 positions ahead in the alphabet. So, let's use an online decoder to decode the text and find out what is encoded. Based on the decoded text, it looks like we finally found the text. It looks like a password for the user Nairobi, which was previously mentioned in the secret diary file. So, let's use the SSH client tool to establish a connection. But it did not work. Here, we have two reasons: the decoded text is not fully decoded, and further refining is needed. The other reason is we have used an invalid user. However, this second reason is unlikely because the secret diary file specifically indicated the user Nairobi. So, it is best to check if we can decode it further. The text does not immediately suggest a known pattern or phrase. However, I can try to decrypt it using some common ciphers and tools. Here, I am going to use the Cryptii online decoder tool. Upon trying various cipher decoders, I found that the decoder we are looking for is an affine cipher. This process is complicated and time-consuming, but we have finally decoded it. Now, let's use it again to check if we can successfully establish a connection. It worked! We have successfully connected to the user Nairobi. Now, let's check the files and directories to find our next step. Here, I found a note.txt. Let's open it. The note states that Nairobi was shot by a sniper near her heart. On the previous note, it warned Nairobi, and now she has been shot. There is nothing else to check here, so let's see if we can access other users' files and directories. Navigate to the home directory. Only one user, Tokyo, is left for us to check. However, when trying to change the directory to Tokyo, it displayed a permission denied error. Further escalation is needed. It's important to know if the user Nairobi has permission to run sudo. So, let's use the sudo-l command to check. The user Nairobi does not have permission to run sudo. For a more comprehensive overview, I will use LinPEAS. First, we have to send LinPEAS to the target system. Previously, we downloaded it and also set up an HTTP server to host it using Python 3, so there's no need to set it up again. It is important to remember that due to previous usage of the TMP directory, we cannot use it to download LinPEAS on the TMP directory because each user doesn't have the permit to access others' contents. So, we have to download the linpeas.sh file from the Nairobi home directory. Run the wget command followed by the URL. Next, list all files and directories to verify whether linpeas.sh has execution permissions. If it does not, modify the permissions using the chmod command to make linpeas.sh executable. Run linpeas.sh to perform a comprehensive scan of the system for privilege escalation opportunities. The script will examine various aspects of the system, including misconfigurations, outdated or vulnerable software versions, and other security weaknesses that could be exploited to gain higher privileges. Upon analyzing the output, I found the same critical files under the Files with Interesting Permissions section. Upon trying to find SUID command, it executed successfully. However, when I attempted to open the Tokyo user directory, I was met with a permission denied error. This indicates that further privilege escalation is required to access this directory. To escalate privileges, let's use the gdb suid command. Search for the appropriate command on GTFO bins. Copy it, and modify the sh to bash. Now, paste the modified command into the terminal. Upon execution, it will change the shell type. Now, let's try to change the directory to Tokyo. It worked. Now, list the files and directories to check what it contains. There are no noteworthy files, but there is a .sudo as admin successful file that looks suspicious. The file contains a phonetic alphabet followed by a date. Let's decode it step by step. Phonetic alphabet. Stop is usually used to end a transmission, not a letter. This translates to root password. Date. This translates to India 1947. The phonetic alphabet part translates to root password, and the date is India 1947. The phrase root password suggests that this could be a hint towards the root password or credentials related to root access. India 1947 might be a clue or the actual password. Try using these credentials to see if they provide access to additional system functions or elevate privileges. If the file is suggesting this as a root password, using sudo or directly logging in as root with these credentials might be your next step. Use the su root command. It prompts us to input a password. Enter India 1947 in lowercase. Here, we are successful. Using the whoami command, we can see we have successfully obtained root shell access. Since the previous enumeration did not reveal any user flag, so it meant to be that the flag must be in the root directory. Change the directory to root and list the files and directories. Here, we find a file named proof.txt, which may contain the root flag. Open it using the cat command. We have successfully obtained the root flag. If you have any doubts or queries about this video, mention them in the comments. See you in the next video.